Here is a seat. Now we'll go down through there. Again, not hard to tell where the town square is. And like the Incas, you had to be tough to live around here, I think, because it's a lot of steep walking. Notice these terraces with, I guess, olive trees, and here a walkway. I wonder where that goes. Answer your question. Passeggiata della Mura, which I think means walking trail of the wall. Almost everything you look at looks like it's got some ancient ambience to it. That's some kind of portal into there. And what look like fields and are now, I wonder if those were walls for buildings, but now it's just been converted in this era to garden areas. But this was certainly an entrance into the city. This is probably just a lovely walk, like a city, like a kind of a city park walk with some bit of privacy. You see how the wall's built on outcrops. I'm reminded as I walk along of Iguazu Falls, where I felt this compulsion to stop every 50 or 100 feet to photograph the falls, and here it's the same kind of thing. Here a little design element, maybe a little thicker buttressing, or buttressing per se. And maybe this is an original seat carved in for the benefit of walkers. This reminds me of Respighi's Pines of Rome. Just because I'm in Italy, I suppose. It just occurred to me the Sandra Bullock dilemma, I'll call it. And that is, yes, you have the money to buy a house and live in Venice, but why? When there seem to be so many places that one would want to go. Perhaps like Jackson is for me, she has found a resonance there. Resonance. What I'm going to focus down on now looks like perhaps an original, whatever they call them here, but I'll call it a farmstead. But maybe it was a wine vineyard with all that encompasses that profession. I do wonder what it would be like to live here, like in one of these little simple houses for a month. Very park-like in some ways, some places, even though it's just a trail. A nice stairway, or was a nice stairway, perhaps built when those houses I passed were new. This is interesting, having access to town. I might just try that. Here's interesting, must have been an original entryway into the city, but not only filled in here, but filled in behind it to accommodate buildings. It's interesting, in certain places you see that ridge of rounded stone. And I wonder if that represented the first level of the wall, or whether there was an artistic intent there. It's interesting that the design seems to be layers, but the layers are occasionally layered with a line of brick. Perhaps that was to accommodate some elevation change. If you see these two lines of cement, one in the middle, it's kind of an S-curve, one over to the left side. My guess, though, that there are utilities hidden behind that cement. Look how nicely this stone work is. I'm going to go up those stairs, but I may just come back and walk along the pathway again. Okay, this is kind of interesting. We're standing on the area that's been filled in behind the wall. But here it looks like there might have been a secondary wall that had its own archways for some reason that are also covered up. And then buildings built behind them. Okay. I do know where I'm at. I'm retracing my earlier steps. Sitting on one of these earlier benches, eating the last of last night's gorgonzola. I thought I'd just get a closer look at these, for lack of a better term, wineries. I can imagine if you had a reason to be here, had full internet hookup, high speed I mean, it would be an interesting place to live. Rent out the vineyard operation to somebody who knows what they're doing. But it's such a mix of vegetation. If I didn't see it myself and saw it in a painting, I thought it was contrived somehow. And there are some olives growing on olive trees. Here's an interesting intersection. Again, notice how there are arches buried by current walkways. Presumably like this building here, there's something down below. You can see the same thing there. It's interesting that these arches march right up the hill, so we're probably 8 or 10 feet above what was the original walkway. Perhaps that little building is someone's little home now. That's where the walkway was, right there through the trees. I'm next to a wall now, and my guess is that there were perhaps several walls, or maybe they wound around down the hill. I'm guessing the purpose of this net is to catch ripening olives off that tree, which is laden with them. Interesting, it looks like a column pedestal. Another portal into the city. I think my condo is right, or my hostel is right down here to the left.